to Mississippi State. Team came in and battled it out for 4 quarters, knew how to win it at the end. I thought it would be a gritty game. I really kind of played to script how we thought it would play out. I thought our defense would play well. I couldn't give enough credit to our younger players, especially in the secondary when you have really your best corner. The next best corner is out with injury. One of our better safeties opt out. I just thought those guys really were up to the challenge, not only today, but really all the preparation back in Champaign and the practices down here. I really was excited about those guys defensively, offensively. Just a kind of one of those days where we're just a little bit off, from that last corner route that we're there to Isaiah. It's open on a 3rd and 9 that just bounces off his fingertips. That kind of is the epitome of the whole day offensively. Just a lot of good things, some positive things, just not enough to get over the end. Told the guys at halftime, we had a legal procedure penalty that took 7 off the board, and then obviously we got sacked and took us out of the field goal range, and then defensively we had an ME that really gave them the best yardage of the day that allowed that first field goal to happen. So some self-inflicted things, not taking anything all away from Mississippi State. They played a great game and played to their strengths and came through in the end. So what this does is obviously closes the season. A lot of positive things for our program, offense, defense, special teams. Today, personnel-wise, when we have guys that miss, Brian Hightower pulled his hammy a little bit back in Champaign. We thought he might get him back this week, but he didn't come through. So we were kind of short at the wide receiver position. Obviously, left Luke Ford at home, so tight end position was cut down a little bit. Offensively, we were a little bit banged up. And then obviously at running back, I thought Reggie and Josh did a really nice job of preparation, but it was really their first game as kind of their tandem in there together. So some things that would get us excited about the future. Had a lot of really good young players that played well today. Have continued to play better as the season goes along. And right now we'll get back to Champaign. Some guys will have some decisions to make. We'll be involved in the conversation then. We got a January 4th and 8th. We can have some portal guys come in for visits. We'll take 2 or 3 weeks of live recruiting here to kind of continue to build our roster. There's one thing that I can promise you is we've really built this roster, I think, into a roster that's it's hard. You have to really try to find a guy that doesn't belong here. We got guys that believe in what we are, what we do, how we work, what we are, and I think we just got to continue to stay on that path. So with that, I'll open it up for questions. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the question is a lot of close losses. We lost 5 games by 1 score, right? That falls directly to me, right? As a head coach, we got to find the answers to come through. Some of it has been offensively, defensively. Special teams definitely had a factor in some of these. It's kind of a mixed bag. I know that during bye week 2, it still went on a pretty good streak, so it wasn't as big. We really looked at that Indiana game after it happened, and correcting some modified some things. But Michigan State, Purdue, and of course Michigan. Those were all 3 very tough games. All kind of played out a little bit different in the end. Michigan, there was a big 4th down call. There was a Purdue game. There was a play right before the half that that kind of flipped the script, and then we in the Michigan State game, there was some just. I thought that was probably one game that we just didn't play well. We kept it close just because we were a good football team that wasn't playing well that day. And then obviously this tough one today. This is a defensive battle that just really probably came down to who had the ball last, who was able to execute, and unfortunately we came up short. Well, the transfer portal to me is a lot of things that maybe it's when you lose guys early, right? So definitely, Spoon, right? Before the year started, I thought if he played well, there's a chance we might lose him, right? But he's played himself into possibly being the first corner taken in the NFL draft, right? So I really didn't foresee that at that level, right? But I think it makes sense to grab a corner for a corner in that scenario, right? Obviously, Chase Brown jumped out, right? So he had a year left of eligibility. So depending on what we feel at the running back position, there's some easy ones there to go one for one. I really don't want to make a huge living in the portal, but I do think it gives us a chance to replace old players that aren't here, anymore. I think we're always going to be a developmental high school type program, but we definitely want to supplement with players that we need.
Coach, did Mississippi State do anything that you didn't expect that led to all the sacks?
No, there was definitely some different path, pressures that just the path, but the overall concepts of what they did were on task. I don't think we handled the movement extremely well. I thought we could have done some things with our legs a little bit better, but hindsight's 20/20, right? Like you have to execute, and you got to be able to not just block them all. You got to be able to execute the throw then, and if the pass is taken away, the concept's taken away, then we got to find a better answer with our protection. What's that? The question is, what was my confidence level with the run game without Chase, with Reggie and Josh? I thought we had a good game plan. Obviously, there were times today where I didn't think our inside zone was going well, but in the second half, we talked about going a little bit more gap schemes, and that kind of hit us on that drive, and we went right down the field and did some nice play action pass off those looks as well. So, I think that overall, we didn't run the ball effectively well. I can't say right now if it was any one specific thing, but I'll give Mississippi State credit for being able to take away what we were hopefully trying to get done.
Comment further on the state of the program heading into the off season and how you kind of view the season? You good as a stepping stone?
Oh yeah, I hope so. Last year we didn't go anywhere. This year we were in a January bowl game in Florida and playing an SEC opponent. This is not this is not where we're going to settle, right? This is kind of hopefully a springboard into bigger and better things. Very excited to get here to the ReliaQuest Bowl and have this opportunity in this moment. We were trying to get to a 9-win season and obviously fell short, but this is a season that we did a lot of really good things. I think it's good to be disappointed in the end, to know how close we were to doing some even bigger things. But bottom line, you usually get what you prepared for, what you execute to. And bottom line, we played some really good football this year, and then we played some games that weren't that good, and those are the games that ended up getting us in the end. And then today, again, did some good things against a good football team that won 8 games in the SEC conference, and we didn't do enough good things to make us win today, and that unfortunately hurts, but it's part of the process.
Brett, I'm curious, I don't know how easy this is to answer, but you brought up Arkansas a lot. You just made references to the experience there and what you, going to year 3, it was a good year there. Where is this program kind of on that scale relative to where you had Arkansas?
Yeah. I think when I bring up Arkansas, it's more in the context of learning from experiences of the past, right? I don't even know what the question is exactly, but we're in year 2. We won 8 games. I believe my second year there, we won 7 games. Year 3, we went to 3 straight bowl games. I don't know. I just think about Illinois. What I do know about Illinois is in a better position now than we were when we got here. There's no question about that. And for us to get to where we want to be, we need to continue to strive forward with our coaching, X's and O's, offense, defense, and special teams. We got to continue to build and develop our roster. As we mentioned earlier, we lost 5 games by 1-score games that a couple of them really come down to the final drive, final possession of the game. So I know what the hottest season will be for me as a head coach. I know what I'll concentrate on and task. I kind of got into it a little bit in December with our guys, just the knowledge and the experience that we've gained in these moments of adversity have really got to help us in the moments going forward. And I did say to the guys, last thing leaving the locker room, I said, hey, when you're home, all right, for the guys that are going to be returning in the middle of January, think about where you truly want to be. You want to just be a good football team and talk about winning games, and or do you want to sacrifice and get to a level of championship expectations on a yearly basis, right? Because I think that's where Josh, myself, and everybody wants us to go and sustain success. So I think if we're disappointed in an 8-win season, we've made a step in the right direction. But by no means am I going to be settling for an 8-win season.
Coach, I know it's early, you get some time on that, but what's your observation on the rookie experience?
Well, it's very easy to see even before I met Zach. I'd heard about him, knew about his name. Mike and I had actually had conversations before he took the Mississippi State job about defense in the SEC because he had made reference to my Arkansas time. So I was very impressed when I popped on the film and started watching. Just the detail that the defense plays to, the intensity they play with, and I think as a head coach, what I've learned is if you've got a coordinator who's kind of in charge, right, which I think it's fair to say that Mike probably did not manage a lot of input on the defense side of the ball. And I think it showed the way Zach has designed that defense to fit within this system, and then to see the way the kids played, and then just to be around him briefly on 3 different occasions. You could tell he's a football guy, extremely intelligent, seems like he can put together the big picture in a hurry. I told him, hey, when I became a head coach, I had a whole year in waiting, right? I got to ask a bunch of questions. I went to press conferences with my mentor, and I saw things unfold a year before I became a head coach. And obviously he just beat me today, so I don't know if he's going to take me into advice, but I said if there's anything I can do, I'd love to have a conversation with you, be at the convention in a couple of weeks. I think it's always neat for bowl teams, if they're willing, to kind of share ideas and thoughts, right? Because you see each other at the end of the year, and you can kind of maximize off of the strengths and weaknesses. It's a good question. I get it. I knew we were going to get this question, right? But Aaron just continues to be who I think he is. From the time that I knew this was the direction I was going to go, I would say, after last year's season, I didn't know quite which direction I was going to go. But as I saw Aaron unfold this fall, and as I saw really again, kind of the same thing I just mentioned with Zach, like when you see coaches, players play, and you see the growth that Devin Witherspoon has happened. You realize, obviously, there's things that has happened, physically, maturity, there's talent development with Tank, but he learned to play the game at a different level, and I know that was what was bred into him through Aaron's coaching, and the way the players responded when I made the announcements, the way that they handled practice, like it was literally like we didn't miss a beat. And today, just the way the game unfolded, he made some adjustments at halftime, played some things within the game, the extreme limitations we had today personnel-wise. I think we made the right choice, and hopefully it's just going to become even better from here. I think there's some really good intricacies of him and Andy and J-Mo working together. Antonio joined us 2 days ago, so Antonio will help him in the back end, and those two's prior relationship I think will be really key in that room. They come from the same cloth. I'll bring in an outside backer that I think is going to really bring some huge value for us, hopefully in the pass rush game, and some different things maybe to build on some of the things I think we have to from the past. But great question. Probably consistency. Consistency, I think we have to have an identity. I think it's easy to say, okay, we're an up-tempo offense, we got the tempo thing, but what are we, right? Like at times we look like, when we get in the swing of things are pretty hard to defend. But then at other times when we get hit in the head, like it just doesn't seem to go anywhere really in a hurry, right? So I'm excited for Barry. I think he knows, obviously we'll have some transition in the running back room, which I think will be very exciting. I think we can bring in some people there that have some thoughts and ideas on what we can do. I hope to have Ben back with us full-time, in the spring. So there's some exciting things for us offensively. We'll have some new personnel with us in January that gives some different strengths in literally every position group. So Barry's a very smart football coach, and I think he'll continue to make this thing move forward. Yeah, don't know. I just know that we were running a desperado play, and the ball bounced back in that player, and then I was watching the ball, and then I saw something happen at midfield. So, yeah, it was part of the game. Zach and I both said afterwards, right, that's just not what we want, not who we are. But, one of those things. Thankfully, Colmer has provided and prevailed there in a short fashion, and obviously don't want to embarrass us or Mississippi State in any way.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, bro.
Happy New Year, everybody.